Welcome back to Miss Cindy's Kitchen. Tonight I'm going to show you a great recipe I found for making chicken fried steak. And originally I had received a package of steak similar to this. This is Eye of Round thin cut steak, and it was marked down, so the net price was less than $3 for 6 of these thin steaks. And we really enjoyed the chicken fried steak I made a week or so back, so I wanted to make it again. So the first thing you need to do is take a meat tenderizer and pound the meat. This is not that kind of video, but we have to tenderize the meat. So I'm going to do that and then flip it over. So it's nice and pounded like that. And then we'll do another one. And then flip it over. So we'll pause here for a sec while I do the rest of the steaks. So make sure you like and subscribe and share to your friends and give us your feedback. And we'll be right back. And now that we have used the tenderizer to tenderize the meat, basically by stabbing it repeatedly, it loosens the fibers of the meat. So that's the other benefit of stabbing meat rather than pounding meat. So I'm going to salt this because that gives a lot of flavor. And then, bring it over here. And then we're going to bread it in the dry mixture, followed by the egg mixture, followed in by another layer of the flour mixture. So that way you get 2 levels of flavor. And this is some sea salt I got today because I really like sea salt. And the other one was a grinder, and it was kind of hard to use with one hand while you're trying to fix food. So before I start the breading process, actually I'll go ahead and do that first so that way the oil doesn't get too hot. So I'll bring this over here so you guys can see better. Actually, I'll stand back here so you guys can see better. So what we're going to do is take a piece of steak. We're putting it in the flour mixture first, and we're going to press the meat into the flour to get it coated really well. And this is 1.5 cups of flour and 1.5 teaspoons of garlic powder and 2 teaspoons of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne. So I'm going to take them all through the first breading and then put them back on the plate. I'm going to press them into the flour. So you get it really well coated. And then, whoops, add some breading to my directions. As the original recipe called for 2 cups of flour, however, I found that that amount was excessive and we really only needed a lesser amount, so I tried 1.5 this time. So I'm going to press it down to get all the seasoning on there. Got to get it well coated with flour. Whoops, the backside didn't want to coat. Alright. This was delicious the last time I made it. And then after we make the steaks, we make a pan gravy. And last time the gravy came out chunky because I was trying to make it in a hurry, and haste makes waste, they say, so. It came out edible, it just wasn't as good as it could have been. Whoops. I made a mess and I just cleaned up the kitchen. Alright. So, now we're going to take this after it's been breaded and we're going to put it in the egg mixture. And it's always important to switch tongs so you don't end up breading your tongs in the process. So, I'm going to coat that. And you could use your tongs to sprinkle the coating on it. So now it's going to have 2 layers of breading on it. It's all raw, even though it's going back on the raw plate. So don't worry about that. There's more important things in the world to worry about. All right. Cover up the meat with more flour. And I bread it. Cover it up with some more flour mixture. And then put it on this plate. And I went ahead and used the same tongue, so it's okay. And for those of you wondering how we got such a great deal on this meat, every time you go to the grocery store to go do your shopping, always check the meat case for markdowns. It's usually within a day or two of the sell-by date, and they're perfectly fine. You can save pretty much 50% on your grocery bill by doing some simple bargain shopping. So don't be afraid to look for the orange stickers in the meat case. We hit the jackpot at Albertsons the other night and got so much meat for our freezer, and probably like 6 dinners worth of meat for like $25 for a family of 5. And if the economy is hitting you hard like it is for most everybody, you got to find ways to save money. And that is a good way to save. All right. So. All right. Let me get this well coated. Got one more piece, and then we will get the pan heated up. I prefer to use cast iron for frying because it gives a nice crust. And for people worried about nonstick Teflon coatings, it's a good alternative. Plus, cast iron, if you want to cook meat in it, you can sear it on the stove and then cook it directly in the pan in the oven without having to change cooking vessels. So see, we still ended up with extra coating. So now we're going to add the oil to the pan and turn it on. That's the most important thing. It helps the cooking process. So I'm going to give a nice layer of oil in the pan. Just enough to coat the bottom with a little bit extra. As you want your meat to be able to fry. So while the oil heats up, we can pause for a minute and we'll be right back. Now that the oil is hot, I'm going to put the meat in the skillet. Whoop, it's stuck to the spatula, the tongs. Listen to that sizzle. I'll cook 3 and 3 because there's not enough for all of it at the same time. Yeah, I'll stick another one in there. Get it going here. Oops. Some of the coating came off, so I'm going to put that back on with another little dip in the breading here. Oops. Make sure it's extra breaded. And where is my metal spoon? Let me see if it's in the drawer. Oh, there it is. So, one thing the recipe recommends is to use a metal spoon and put oil on the top of the coating, on the top of the steaks, because it will help set the breading, and that way it's less likely to fall off when you flip them over. And it says use a metal spoon, so. This method worked like magic last time, so I'm going to follow the same directions. Because whoever created that recipe knows what she's doing. Because they came out fantastic. The lovely sound of sizzling meat. And the other process with this that I recommended is to have your oven at 200 degrees and have a cooling rack placed over a cookie sheet and put in the oven. And then that way, as the steaks finish on the stove, you can put them in the oven to heat through, or to stay hot until you're all done. Let's see here.
No,
Not quite done yet.
There, it smells so good.
All right, this needs a little bit more time to cook. That's gonna sizzle. So while this is sizzling away, we're gonna pause, and then when we're ready to finish off the frying process, we'll bring you back. So I have gotten all the steaks fried, and my next mission is to make the gravy. So I'm getting the salt and pepper and flour ready to put into the skillet ahead of actually making the gravy, because the oil is very, very hot, and I'm going to take some of the oil out. It only needs about 3 tablespoons of drippings. So I'm going to take out some of the grease. There's not a whole lot in here, but if you ever have to toss old grease, put it in an empty aluminum can or steel can, whatever these things are that hold vegetables and fruits. So you don't want your pan to be too greasy. It cooked down quite a bit, so I'm going to put that aside. And when you're making pan gravy, your best bet is to use a whisk such as this, like a balloon whisk. Still got some gravy on from the last bit. It went through the dishwasher like 3 times, so actually that's where it burnt. Anyway, so a silicone whisk is really good for this. So we're going to put the flour in the grease and stir, and that will tighten up the fat in the skillet, and you'll see it start to congeal a little bit. And I turn the heat down to kind of like low medium, because we need some heat, but we don't want it to cook too fast. And this is half and half, the 1/4 cup. It called for full cream, but I didn't have cream, so I'm using a substitution. And the chicken fried steaks are in the oven keeping warm while the gravy is prepared. And to go along with this, I made some boiled potatoes. Woo, that's hot. And so this is heating up faster than I can stir it. Dolly is just laying there absorbing all the yummy smells from the kitchen.
What is that you're using? Is it still half and half?
Oh, actually this is 2% milk.
2% milk, okay.
So it's a 1/4 cup of cream. It called for heavy cream, but I'm using half and half for that part of it. And then we now have just regular milk. Whole milk or 2% is the best choice for cooking, because you want your sauce to have a little body, which means have some substance to it, because non-fat is basically just the thin milk left after all the good stuff's taken out. So, and as much as you like to cut fat out of your diet, you do need some fat to absorb vitamins. So if you get a little bit of fat in your milk, it's not going to be fatal. It'll help your body absorb minerals and vitamins. So, basically, as the sauce thickens up, you're going to add in the rest of the milk. It's just making a simple pan gravy. And this makes a great sauce for the steak. Or alternatively, you can have barbecue sauce or ranch dressing.
I had honey mustard on mine.
Honey mustard. So whatever topping you like on fried meat, you can try. The pan gravy is really good because it kind of brings out the flavors that are already in the meat. Got a little bit of coating in there, so I'm going to break that up. So as you can see, as it bubbles and thickens, you add in the remainder of the milk. And you can adjust the seasonings. I put in the sea salt and fresh cracked pepper. If you don't like pepper, you can omit it. If you like pepper, you can add more. It's basically salt and pepper to taste. So, now that the gravy is pretty much done, I'm going to get the pan out of the oven so you can see what the steaks look like. So, let me come over here. Got to get the pot holder. Move, Dahlia. Oh my goodness. I love this dog, but she has a big butt and she's in the way half the time. Move.
Dahlia, move.
Alright. So these are the steaks that are cooked. And, whoops. I think I'm going to set them over here instead. I don't want them to fall on the floor, although Dahlia would like that. We'd be a little peeved because that's our dinner. So. Alright, we're going.
And how long did it take for you to make this?
Probably about 20 minutes to cook the steaks. Just between getting them ready and then finishing them up. So we're going to pause once more and we will get the food dished up and then we'll bring you back for a taste test and you can drool along with the rest of us. Alright, now that the food is all ready, Logan's going to take a taste test.
Hey, Logan.
Okay. I was unsure whether or not I'd be able to cut the steak with the
Fork.
but I was able to, and I got some of the gravy on it. Looks so good. Now I'm gonna try it.
And we're serving it up with some baby potatoes and we'll have a green salad, so it makes a nice dinner. But our feature item is the chicken fried steak, which my family loves and always seeks out in restaurants. So anyway, make sure you like, subscribe, and share to your friends and give us your feedback. And join us again soon. And we're going to dig into our chicken fried steak dinner. Have a great evening.
Thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen. To get more recipes like this one, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications when new videos are uploaded. Share it out to your friends, family, neighbors, and leave us a comment to let us know how this recipe worked for you. And don't forget to hit that like button. Again, thank you for watching Miss Cindy's Kitchen.